What, you didn't know? Although widespread today, the name Lance was more common in the Middle Ages. In this review of the 2021 action sport film Born a Champion, major spoilers coming, a man is being interviewed and shares a narrative about how he met Mickey Kelly. Mickey, a recent Marine Corps retiree, was working as a valet when a fight broke out when a customer who had cut in line made racist comments. Mickey subdued the customer, but the customer's friends quickly arrived. Mickey, however, maintained control and defeated all of his friends without so much as throwing a punch. After being called out, Mickey said, "I thought you guys were my friends, and you guys called me Taco, so now we're the best of friends." This happened in 1992, and the story goes like this. Mickey is on a plane to Dubai, and the woman sitting next to him says that she and her husband couldn't get seats next to each other, so they've been sitting across the aisle from each other the whole flight. Layla says she is a paralegal, yet she is heading to a picture shoot in Dubai. A jiu-jitsu instructor, Mickey plans to travel to Dubai to share his knowledge with the city's youth. Mickey tells Layla that he doesn't practice to start fights, but to terminate them by the time they land because he knows she doesn't enjoy them. Even though Layla is snoring on his shoulder, he doesn't mind one bit. After teaching a group of kids and having dinner with the sheikh, Mickey is interrupted by a distraught Layla. He asks if she's okay, and a man arrives to tell her that she must return and apologize because in Dubai a woman can't strike a man. Layla protests, saying that the man inappropriately touched her, at which point Castopoulos appears and asks Mickey who dis. Castopoulos is unimpressed, and his bodyguard thinks jiu-jitsu is for homos. Castopoulos tells Mickey to leave, and then he allows Mickey speak with one of his employees. Sheik explains that Castopoulos is one of the wealthiest non-ignorantes in the city and that he likes to hire beautiful Western women to model for his fur business. But once they get here, he encourages them to do more inappropriate things by threatening to cancel their return ticket if they don't comply. Layla says it's fine and Mickey goes back to the table. When Mickey sees that Castopoulos' ex-Nez bodyguard isn't coming out of the restroom, he follows him there and comes back with a bleeding hand. He then rescues Layla and leaves Castopoulos bewildered. Mickey stays for one extra week to train him jiu-jitsu, and then he gets Layla the cheapest ticket on the first aircraft back to the States. Layla goes to Taco's shop in search of Mickey. He never gave her number, but he did mention his shop. After Taco tells her he never mentioned her, Layla begins to wonder if she misread the situation and hides. Upon Mickey's arrival, he begins to ramble on about a girl he met, saying that he never believed in love at first sight before, but after she fell asleep on his shoulder, he felt her heart, and it's got that. Taco returns, apologizing for Mickey's behavior, and she tells him that she feels the same way about him, prompting him to provide her number the following day. From that point on, the two are inseparable. Taco wedded Layla and Mickey at his shop. Layla was a paralegal, while Mickey worked as a bar bouncer while also renting out space at a dojo. Neither of them had any immediate relatives to turn to for support. A few months later, Mickey receives a phone from the sheikh offering him $25,000 to compete in an 8-man MMA tournament. Layla is opposed to the idea, but Mickey convinces her that they could use the money to put a down payment on a house back in those days. MMA was banned in the United States because it was considered too violent, so wealthy Arab men began holding tournaments in the desert and flying in fighters they wanted to see compete against each other, including Marco Plain, one of the best fighters in the world. Mickey passes the medical exam, but the doctor tells Taco that while the other fighters have a resting heart rate of about 80, his is only 42, indicating that he is either extremely confident or delusional. When Mickey faces a Japanese opponent in his first bout, he easily submits him with a chokehold. When he faces a Nigerian opponent in the second, he also quickly submits him with a chokehold. In the final, Mickey faces Marco Blaine, who was the heavy favorite despite Mickey's underdog status entering the tournament. Mickey makes his customary bow, but just as he extends his hand for a handshake, Marco knees him in the head and begins beating him mercilessly. They had previously agreed that Marco wouldn't stop beating Mickey until Mickey was unconscious, but Mickey would have been wise to listen to Layla instead. Mickey's eye was smashed and his retina was separated. He could lose his sight and would never be able to fight again. A month later, his baby was born, so he found a new job and focused on being a dad. However, one night at a club, Mickey tries to defuse the situation, but gets hit in the eye. Layla tries to encourage him to quit bouncing, but he wants his kid to have the greatest education he could provide. And dispute ensues between Mickey and Layla after Layla points out that Mickey's motivation isn't purely financial. Mickey goes to see Taco and complains that he wouldn't have to bounce if he had more students. Taco advises Mickey to pursue a safer career, but he is useless without his jiu-jitsu skills. One day, Mickey is sitting alone at the dojo because none of his students showed up. Eventually, Lena comes to pick him up, and the two can't stay upset at each other for more than a few hours. Mickey shows the 3 lads from the other instructor a choke and another where he hides the hands beneath so his opponent couldn't even tap out. adding that it's not the nicest thing to do, since the other instructor is all about punching as they see on TV. When Jimmy comes in, he tells Mickey that he'll have to remember that the next time he has a guy between his legs, and Mickey apologizes, saying he didn't mean any disrespect. However, Jimmy feels insulted, and he starts taunting Mickey, trying to provoke a fight to prove his point. After Mickey's explosive day in Dubai, he calms down enough to go home and have another go at it with his wife. A friend of Sheik's son's praises Marco Blaine, who at this point is undefeated and considered a legend, while Sheik's son calls him a cheater. It turns out that the Sheikh has tapes of the Dubai tournaments. Sheik's son claims that Mickey was his trainer when he was young, and after witnessing the cheating, the friend decides to upload the video to his site so that his brother in London can see it. Pitt, an old training partner of Berkman's who thinks Mickey is the real deal but Mason doesn't believe him, shows up at the dojo with one of his fighters, Travis, and asks if Mickey minds rolling with him for a bit. They spar, and despite Pitt's callouts, Mickey outplaces him, but Travis manages to get him on the ground, and Pitt is proud that his boy has finally gotten it. Mickey provides him with some helpful criticism, highlighting some areas in which he may improve, and concluding, "If you do those right, you'll be dangerous out there." Travis then leaves after expressing his gratitude. After saying that Travis only competed in the Brazilian Nationals once, Pitt called Berkman to reassure him that Mickey is still competitive and predicted that he will defeat Marco in a future match. After Mickey tells Layla that Pitt has offered him a job teaching his fight for scrappling, she becomes angry and he goes to Taco to make up with her. The following day, Mickey shows up at Pitt's gym and begins training the fighters. His family visits him, and his son asks when he will get to fight. Mickey tells him that they will discuss the matter when the glove fits. Mickey arrives into the gym one day and sees everyone watching the tape. Taco receives a call from Berkman, who says that the public is demanding a rematch despite the fact that Mickey is 46 and out of training and Marco is 31 and at the height of his career. Taco informs Berkman that Mickey has an eye problem, but Berkman says he can arrange a doctor who will make Mickey pass the medical. Even if it's $75,000 to show up, Layla understandably doesn't want him to fight. Mickey claims he would merely roll around and tap at the first hint of difficulty, but Layla is confident he would ultimately give him the thrashing he deserves. Layla rushes to Taco, and after convincing him to cease fighting if she told him to, she agrees to let him fight when Mickey shows there. Mickey begins training, focusing on increasing his strength and speed in order to protect his left side and coming up with new strategies to keep Marco off balance. Despite this, Mason brings in a real doctor because he can't risk having a fighter slaughtered on TV, and Mickey fails the vision test because his car is in the Taco Bell's repair shop. Since Mickey hated the O'Sullivan name and didn't want his son to associate with it, he changed his name to his mother's maiden name when he left the military. A good father sets a good example for his children by leading a moral life, but Mickey never intended to do so without Layla by his side. Jimmy approaches Mickey in Pitt's gym to offer condolences. He claims he signed up for Mickey's class because he couldn't figure out how Taco beat him so easily. Mickey's father encourages him to be a nice boy while he's gone, and Mickey kisses farewell to his son after receiving a phone from Dubai Castapoulos, who learned about the cancelled rematch and offered the same prize. Mickey's tacos, and Pitt's jet set to Dubai. Castapoulos and the Sheik are happy to see him again, but Castapoulos insults him by stating he came all the way to sacrifice his life for $75,000. When Mason visits Mickey the next day, he reveals that he was once the commanding officer during the Gulf War and tells a story about how he only lost one Marine when he got out to try to fix a tank that had rolled over. When Marco arrives, he stares Mickey down as the finders are weighed and the ref explains the rules while the wealthy attendees placed bets. In the first 12 seconds of the fight, Mickey punches Marco to the ground and begins to squeeze, making it impossible for Marco to get up. When Marco tries to break the hold by headbutting Mickey's eye, the referee pulls him off, warns him, and tells the fighters to continue. The crowd boos, but Castapoulos gives the ref the thumbs up. Mickey insists they cannot surrender while Taco says they must because he has a pact with Castapoulos that states he would receive nothing if he loses and $1 million if he wins. Castapoulos agreed to the terms because he was confident he could not possibly win otherwise. Round 2 begins with Mickey taking some heavy blows and being unable to do anything as he is on the ground. However, he draws strength from Layla and his son and stands up, whereupon Marco tries to kick him but Mickey catches his leg. He grabs him and throws him over on the ground. He gets him in a headlock but doesn't apply pressure. Instead, he rolls him over and hides Marco's hands below his body so he can't tap out.